Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from around the world, talking with makers from around the world. Here's Jamie Page, Steve Twidell, Chris Cute, and now your host, Richard Morley.
Hello, Maker Central. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, and wherever, presumably it's Maker Central, you are listening. Joined with me, as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
How you doing, guys?
Mr. Steve Twidell.
Hello.
And Mr. Jamie Page. I guess tonight we're talking about Maker Central, and whilst they're here, as always, this show is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the Wood Turns Abrasive Paste, our good friend Chad, who happens to be in the room, so hopefully we can get him on later, from Mancrafting, who's giving away his Mancrafting mugs with us every so often, and Pam from Boxes. Chris, do you have anything more random than what I can come up with this week from the world?
No, gentlemen, the only question that people want to know that weren't in the area that you are right now is how everything went at Maker Central. So let's find out about it. Talk to me. Tell us about the event, Makers Central 2019. Last year was awesome. Comparatively speaking, gentlemen, was this year as good or better?
What do you think, Steve?
It was hard work, but as much as the feedback I got and as much of it I saw, it was awesome. But the buzz and the atmosphere is, I think, better this year around the place. It's pretty amazing. So yes, big thumbs up for me. It was awesome.
Jamie?
Yeah, I've basically just got to mirror exactly what Steve just said. It is breathtaking, is basically a word to describe this year. And if Nicky's listening anywhere in the room, it needs to happen again. No other words to say. Needs to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of echo what Jamie just said about it happening again. And nobody really knows. It couldn't. We're in the lap of the gods, or Nick at least with that one. But I personally hope it happens again. Whether it does or not, we will wait and see. But Steve, I don't know where you came across with it was awesome, because you basically only saw the end of a skew chisel for 2 days because you were at your lathe turning pens with various people non-stop. I don't even see you eat. So do you think it was better than last year, or do you think it was different?
I think it was better because I was able to use the skills I have to give to new turners, a new community. I think it was that's why I feel it was awesome. I know for a fact that at least 5 families went away saying that they're going to buy a lathe and they're going to start wood turning. So that's job done in my mind. The feedback I got from people, I even cried earlier, didn't I, lads? I'm sorry.
Did you really?
but don't worry. The fresh batch of Guinness came up not long after you that year, so we got you some tissues and after that.
Drowned in sorrows, didn't you?
I taught a little girl how to turn a pen, obviously, as I did a lot of kids this weekend, and that little girl came up to me in the foyer here and handed me a pen that she had got me and said, "Thank you for teaching me." And I just went,
oh,
I just lost it.
Man, that is awesome.
But I am tired and quite fatigued in my defense.
But that's, Steve, that's what it was all about, and that's what we wanted to have happen. So that's awesome, man. That's cool. Good for you.
And actually, this ties in with you a little bit, Chris, because I know you're big into like helping other people, and you obviously sent all those pen blanks over. And for those people listening either live or after, and actually probably Jamie and Steve as well, I had a little chat with Chris before we started, after I received these blanks, and said, how the hell are we going to get through all these? I thought he'd sent us about 4 times too many. What are we going to do with them at the end? And you said, Chris, he said, just give them away to people, give them to the kids or anyone that turns pens. And the little girl that Steve just mentioned, it was the daughter of Dominic Bender from Be Inspired with Dominic in Germany. And I know you know him because the 3 of us certainly all talked on Keek all those years ago.
Sure.
And his daughter came in and she was a little bit shy, and she's now raring to go on the lathe.
Oh, that's awesome. No, that's awesome.
that wasn't the only story either. There are many others. But Jamie, you were demoing for Record Power and was it Easy Wood Tools?
Yeah, I've done a bit of demoing for both of them. The Record Power one didn't go as planned. There was a few hiccups along the way. Well, actually more than a few, but it got through it in the end. I went all day on the Make with Makers stand, doing all the scrolling with no mess ups, let's say, and got into the Record Power stand, and everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Partly because Richard got the wrong size wood, or wrong thickness, but partly my fault as well because I told him to get it. So, but I also done some turning on the Easy Wood stand with a blank that Jake Thompson made. So, yeah, that was good. So, I've started tearing up my knuckles a little bit because it had some hidden aluminium honeycomb inside of it. So, I just want to say thanks to Jank for that. So, yeah, thanks for that nice little surprise there. Not quite a murder blank, but more of an assault blank, if you like.
I think, I don't know if it's so, but I think I can see Jake just across the way. He's looking at his phone intensely. I wonder if he's trying to listen. There's a lot of people on their phones apparently listening, but Jake just looked over and gave Jamie like a big thumbs up. It's like, yeah, definitely sabotage that one.
Mission accomplished.
In fact, so Jamie, why don't you go and get Jake? Jake, if you are listening, or somebody that's listening in the room, go and find Jake and get him to come on, because I think we should go and have a chat with him.
I mean, yeah, because
we know you're looking. Come here.
There's only like a gazillion makers there that we could sit down and talk with today. Now, obviously, we're limited on time, but if you guys can grab some people and bring them on and get, you know what, I want to know what their thoughts of the show were, and then if we can get together and beat Nick up, he'll actually do this again so that I can come next year. How you doing, Jake?
How you doing there, Chris?
I
miss
you. Oh man, thank you. I love you, and I can hear you loud and clear. How was the show?
It was great. It was. I never expected it to be like it was. It's so cool.
So it was your first. Is it your first time in the UK, or certainly to Maker Central, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is the first time I've been here at the trip to UK or Maker Central or any woodworking event at all, really.
Okay, so ignoring the reason you were here, what are your thoughts on being in the UK? Experiences just thus far? Because didn't you hire a car?
I did hire a car, and I want to fire a car.
And he almost tried killing me.
If I'd have tried, you'd be dead.
Okay, and you were here demoing with Easy Wood as well, weren't you?
Yes, I was. That was pretty cool. Just it was a pretty relaxed thing. Just when I had time, go up there and turn some stuff. I made that blank for Jamie, and I didn't really plan on doing any turning with them, but they asked me at the last minute, and of course I said yes.
Presumably you weren't demoing the whole time, and you got to see the wider show.
Well, I walked all around, and I kind of have some cool things lined up for vlog video for this. There's all kinds of cool people here, and I got some people to do some funny skits, and it's going to be pretty cool.
And I mean, seeing the wider show, how do you think it was, and what were your impressions of it, and any little interesting anecdotes you care to share pre-video release?
It's going to be titled. It's not going to be titled Maker Central because I want it to appeal to more people. It's going to be like a hybrid blank with a trip to England or something like that. But I will say, I mean, it was a huge show and everybody is super nice. And I said on my last shop update to come and say hi because that's what we're here for. And I had to take my own advice. Because there's people that you're nervous to talk to, and I just went up and said hi. And there's everybody I wanted to say hi to, I was able to. And it's cool. One thing about the English people is they're participators. Like every time there's an event or somebody's on stage, they're up there participating, and they'll sit there and listen. And it's not so much in the United States like that.
But I kind of get what you mean. I mean, Jamie and I got roped into doing the prize draw, the Sunday prize draw, right at the end of the show. It was literally the graveyard shift, and you could see like across the hall people disappearing off that hadn't bought a raffle ticket, and it was like only people that were just like, hurry up! If I won a prize, I want to go home because there's going to be the queues in the car park. Just dragging on and on and on. Jamie kept picking out tickets to the same person. Like the same person won about 4 things that Jamie picked a ticket to.
He probably did that on purpose.
But he did stand on the stage in front of everyone and do the Jamie's Page thing. I just wanted to be swallowed up by a giant hole in the floor, I have to say.
Yes, and Jake did get it on the video, so I'll probably post that to our Instagram soon. So you can go over there to Makers International Podcast on Instagram, and you'll see that.
Yes, I'm glad you reminded me about Instagram, because I don't know if you know this, Chris, but Hippynoodle was here with Hippynoodle last night and today, and she went on to Soph's little stand on Make with Makers and the Mini Makers, and I think she's doing make-offs with Al's Hat Shack as well. But she's made a little robot, and that little robot actually now has its own Instagram account. It is called. I'm going to find. I'll find it in a little bit. It's got its own Instagram account, so people need to jump on Instagram and follow Dirks Works, as in DIRKS, WORKS, and follow it and give her a little bit of a shock to the fact that everyone now wants to see what her little wood robot's going to be making, which is going to pens, thanks to Steve, because she's just bought another 3 blanks off Pam, and that's another use for the noodle step.
Which I understand actually got done.
Yeah, you did quite a few on the first day, didn't you, Steve? Was it about 50 odd, wasn't it, something like that?
We don't rightly know the grand total. Dan gave us 4 huge bags of pen kits, and I think there were 20, or there was meant to be 25 or 20 in each one, and it literally came up with this huge armful of really high quality pen kits. And I had to go back to him before, as they were packing up, with like this meager offering, because Steve had literally, like a Trojan, doors closed. Was it 6 o'clock? The doors closed last Saturday night, or whatever the time it was. Steve was still there at 20 past door closing, turning pens with 4 little kids that had come all the way from Glasgow to make stuff. So it's all good.
Oh, here we go. Jimmy DiResta started interrupting us.
That's nice.
Hey, what's up, Chris?
All right, yeah, I can hear him. All right, guys, pick it up. Go.
We got Jimmy DiResta here now. I guess everyone wants to know the main question from you. Boxes or briefs?
Box of briefs.
There you go. You heard it here first.
I think the look on his face was, he said what he said, but the look on his face was said 3 letters. Like, what are you talking about, Jamie?
I've always wanted to know, so everyone else should know as well.
I'd like to know what Jimmy thought of the show this year.
Oh. No, the show is great. There's just so many cool new people in the community, and as I was saying, if they come around for a couple of years, and they're here to stay, and a lot of great spectators as well. You know, people that aren't necessarily makers, but they just like being in the environment, and you know, everybody's welcome to come.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
You were here last year. How did you find any like differences between either not just the setup and who was here, but the approach to the show, or any vibes or feelings that you got were different in the atmosphere or anything like that compared to last year?
You know, it felt pretty much the same for me, but I didn't get as bombarded. You know, I mean, a lot of the fans met me last year, so there wasn't. I had more time to walk around, so I get a little bit more of a chance to talk and you know, like hang out with Ben from Crimson Guitars and spend some time with a couple of the different people at the different booths. So for me, it was a little bit more, not to say richer experience, where I got to meet so many people last year, but this year I got to meet more of the vendors, so that was great.
I got the impression last year was very much a person to person, maker to maker, name to name kind of affair. This year was much more, certainly for me, I felt it was a much more personal thing between not just the makers or even the vendors, but also the member of the public. I mean, we had so many new non-makers that were interested in what was going on. And for me, that it just came across more accessible to everybody rather than each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. There was a lot of spectators that came. I think I met more young kids this year than I did last year, which is great. You know, like genuine young children that, you know, don't have the ability to make anything just yet because they might be 5, 6, 7 years old, but they're spectators and fans of the maker movement. So that's great because, you know, they're just going to become infected with the maker disease.
Definitely. I mean, we've already talked briefly about Dominic Bender's daughter, but actually one thing you said about people not having access to making reminds me of a story. Steve turned a pen with a little girl who neither of her parents were makers, and it was her birthday yesterday, Saturday, and her parents said, "What do you want?" Expected to go to the NEC and take her to the Ollie Murs concert, and she said, "I want to go to Maker Central," and they didn't know anything about it. And she just happened to come over to our stand, and she wanted to turn a pen, and she was chatting to us saying that she was a big Bobby Duke fan. And somebody turned around to her and said, "Oh, have you met him?" And she didn't realise he was there. She's like, "Oh, he's here." So Bobby came over and introduced him and all the rest of it. We got chatting to the parents, and she really then wanted to start turning pens herself. So we actually, Chris, we gave her the most of the pen blanks. Jamie gave her a set of Easy Wood Tools carbide tips. And her dad turned around and said, "I'm going to go and buy a lathe for her now." So there was a small girl who basically not just got herself into it, but her parents as well, as a result of people like Jamie and Chris and Steve and Bobby and figures like yourself, Jimmy, that got reinfected with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's insane.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without doubt. You see, the thing is, it's people like what we've done today for that little girl. She's going to go on to go and do something like that for another little girl that's in need, or another little boy that's in need that wants to become a wood turner, a scroll sawer, a router, or whatever, a maker in general. You know, some years down the line, but she's never forget that moment where we made her dreams come true.
Yeah.
You know, so pay it forward. You know.
Absolutely. I've got a huge favour to ask you, Jimmy. Busy in it, chatting with your friends, but can you go and find Nick at some point and just try and subtly twist his arm and maybe steer him in the direction of handing over Maker Central next year as well? Just everyone just gives them just a little nudge.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to be hanging
out
with Nick in London for the next day or two, so we'll be working on him.
Awesome, good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going to London in the morning. First order of business, me and Eric want real Indian food. So we're going to Brick Lane. We're going to find some cool place to eat. And then Nick and Derek Forrester are going to come back from delivering all the materials and come meet us in London. And we're going to spend the night, and we're going to hammer them and get a season 3 out of this game.
Yeah, there you go.
When are you going to fly back home?
Wednesday, I will be getting in a plane in Heathrow to 11 in the morning here. Yeah. So we got 2 full days in London just to bounce around and do nothing. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Time to relax finally.
Yeah. No, and then I go home for one day, then I get on a plane to Maker Faire in San Francisco. I'll be able to relax Monday the 20th. I'll get home at midnight on Monday the 20th.
You're going to relax.
When I get on my airplane
Good
in
one.
California on the way home.
Awesome. Well, I'm surprised you, because we didn't ask you to come on. You wanted to come on, but which I personally is nice. But thanks. It's interesting to get the perspective from someone of your, I don't want to use the word status, but somebody as well known as you.
No, I think the community is just amazing. And, I've never felt more at home than I have hanging out with you guys and everybody here. And, like I was telling somebody before, it's not a matter of whether you have a channel or subscribers. Everybody's part of this. The spectators, the people that just want to watch, the people that want to make, but thinking about becoming a content creator, and the content creators. We're all the same. I mean, Bobby Duke is sitting down here somewhere. He's got 3 million subscribers. Bob is right over there. He's got 2.5 million subscribers. It's just, and no one's put on any airs. You know, that's what I love about this.
At the end of the day, everybody has their own part to play, and without any one person, it doesn't work for everybody else.
Yeah, it's great. And like I said, it's just a full-on welcoming community.
On that note as well, we actually have new channels and things starting because of Maker Central as well. I mean, we've got kids that have actually started channels today. They've shown us their new Instagram accounts, new channels. So that's what this is all about, is to get those young ones turning into the older ones later on and just taking over the world, baby.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Jimmy, know that we love you. Know that we love you. But do me a favor, get out of that chair and let us
Stuff with his dad.
I just said, Jimmy, we love you, but it's time for you to leave. We need to get somebody else in that chair.
Oh, get me out of here.
Basically,
okay. I love you, Chris. I think my chips are here. Fuck. I love you guys. Thank you.
Cheers, Jimmy. Thanks a lot. It would have worked so much better if the connection had been any good, Chris.
Yeah, well, Jimmy knows me, so he takes it.
Awesome. I mean, Jamie and also Steve, have you got anything that you can think of that would be nice, little anecdotes or anything like that, or even Chris, anything specific you want to know? I mean, I know you're basically like rocking backwards and forwards, crying into your jumper because you couldn't come this year. Anything specific you want to ask or anything like that? Because I'd actually quite like to try and get somebody on, Joe actually, purely because he was so stressed last time. So maybe get him on. If anyone's listening in the room, go find Joe Whittaker and get him on.
Yeah, find Joe Whittaker and get him
Joe,
on.
we want you. Where are you?
Well, just because
I'll tell you what is quite surprising. Mark Christopher's managed to keep his clothes on this week.
That's unusual. But yeah, if you can find Joe and our old brother, get him on. I'd like to have a perspective from Mr. Whittaker to see how things went and from where he was, because I know he didn't have the obligations he had with us last year, so he just probably trolleyed around and didn't have much to do. So I'd like to find out what he thought of the show.
Yeah, Steve's gone on the hunt for
Here
him.
he comes. But
Here he is.
Steve's gone one way, and one of the other listeners in the room has grabbed him by the shoulder. He's looking a bit worried. So before he gets all mic'd up and starts working, I just want to say, chill out, Joe. There's no pressure this time. You can just walk away.
I haven't actually got to present it this time. Have I got to pass a mic around?
I got to find your camera first. Your camera's not working right now.
I'm just gonna sit here. Oh yeah, Steve's gone away, isn't he? Yeah.
Can you see my camera now? I'll put it on here. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, Joe.
Oh, that's right then.
Because Steve's got it on multicam.
All right, I got ya. So how's everyone doing then? We've had a fantastic event, haven't we, really?
Yeah.
It's been great. See, because I've actually lost my voice literally just being stuck on a stand. I was doing the Panther Outer demo. So I was actually making a table, and I had to do some finger joints and some mortise and tenon joinery as well. And I messed it up in the end. But Peter Sefton's going to fix it for me, luckily, because we're going to be auctioning it off for the Birmingham Children's Hospital. So when it's done, hopefully I'll be able to spread around the word that it is up for auction, and we can raise some money for it. That's the plan.
Awesome.
Joe, last year when we all rocked up, and we all met each other for the first time last year, we were basically just punters coming through the door. How did you think that changed for you this year, bearing in mind you're now looking at it from sort of the other side of the counter, the vendor's side of things? What was the differences you felt, do you think?
I think it's definitely felt this year more as if I was part of it. Like you were saying, last time it was more of being a punter. I was just turning up as I want to see the show and want to see what's going on. I did want to be the same again this year. I thought I'd maybe spend 1 or 2 hours on a stand, but I know it sounds silly to have the exhibitors pass round your neck and to be able to cut in front of the queues. It makes you feel like you've actually been part of making it happen. So it was a nice feeling because it feels like you're helping out more than perhaps I really am. But it's like you lot on the Make We Makers stand, being able to have the same experience. It's got to have been felt like you've had more of a hand in the making of the event altogether.
Personally, I don't know if anyone else found this, but looking at it from the sort of being behind a stand, I found myself kind of appearing or potentially appearing rude, because you'd be on a stand and literally the doors would open, and 15 minutes later you'd look at your watch and it was like 2:30, 3:30, and you think, oh, I better eat at some point. And you'd go up to get a drink or nip to the loo or do something, and somebody would stop you as if you were one of the other punters. And you have to, I can't stop. I've got to go and do this because I'm kind of on the clock this time. And I must have done that a dozen times to people and then think, how rude. So I apologise if I did do that to you, but literally it was constantly doing things that if given the choice, I'd rather be wandering around. But, you're there for a reason at the end of the day, to give the experience for the whole show.
Definitely.
Did you find, Jamie, you must have been even worse, because you were demoing on 28 stands at various times and places and schedules and stuff. God forbid. How was that different?
It had its moments. Obviously, I only really had to do one for the record powers, but I never really had anyone come up to me on the Make with Makers stand, because me and you found it quite difficult working next to each other, because for whatever reason we were sharing the plug basically, so it was kind of hard for us to share a plug with. If you're in the middle of doing a demo, I can't turn around and say, right, Richard, stop what you're doing, I need that plug because I need to make this cut on the eye or whatever, you know what I mean? So, but the record power one, the easy wood one, they had two. That was a great one, because they had two lathes going at once, and they just let me basically have free reign and just say, right, yep, there's your blank, go do what you want to do, So yeah, that was right. And people just watching, and yeah, they're just commenting, so covering them in streams of resin. And
so Joe's looking at me quite perplexed at the moment, because he's wondering what this story is with the plug. But basically, Jamie puts it in a really nice way that we were sharing a plug. What actually happened was, we set Jamie up next to where I was working, and he kept nicking my plug. And every time I wanted to do something, I couldn't, because all I could hear in my ear was the scroll saw going up and down. And he'd wander off and do something else.
I think it's my extractor, my rules.
Well, actually, I was in the exact same position, because on the panther rotor, we had two panther rotors going at the same time, but we could only use the one extractor because of the one plug. So I ended up having to do the same thing. So while Deep was demonstrating, I'd have to take the extractor to put onto his, and then when I wanted to demonstrate, I'd have to take it back and plug it into mine. So while I was talking to people, he'd demonstrate, and then while he'll talk, I demonstrate. So my initial idea of doing 1 or 2 hours was then, I probably did do 1 or 2 hours, but the other 3 or 4 hours was standing talking to people and waiting for him to finish his demo as well. Do you know what I mean? Sounds very similar.
I'm always good at standing there looking good. So me and you are the same at that, Joe. Must be a British thing.
It's got to be.
I can clarify to the wider world that Jamie is not good at standing.
Whoa, what do you mean wider?
Bless him. You were on his feet the whole day. I don't know how you managed, because everyone knows Jamie's had surgery on his leg recently. How you coped? Was that a big issue for you, or?
It was a massive issue, to be honest with you. The very first day, it got to a point where I was kind of like, no more. I got out of bed this morning, and I literally, honestly, could not walk. And it got to a point where I literally had to hop to the bathroom to take a couple of painkillers for me to be able to put my foot back down on the floor again. So, but then Jake was like, yeah, stop being a bitch. I was like, okay.
See how it's all gone downhill since I left?
Well,
very much so.
Actually, Joe, we were going to actually ask you back, and we were going to ask you to be our sound guy.
Sound guy.
If you'd like to just come and join us and take over all our sound, because...
And try and sort this lot out. I don't think so. No, I'm out.
He's not a miracle worker, damn it.
Do you know what? I'm actually sitting here listening to you guys saying, oh, I was standing up for 4 hours and I was doing this, and then, oh, it's really sore on my leg. I've just done a 15-hour demo. I didn't, yeah, my legs are quite sore.
So
He could
I'm
be the
just
sound guy,
hearing
though.
from people that are actually in the room listening. Nobody cares that Jamie's leg hurt or Steve nearly fainted, by all accounts, because they had a good time at the show.
That's the main thing. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Any little funny
I still had
stories?
fun. Any funny stories? No, not from me.
Well, I was actually going to ask Joe if there were any little funny stories on his stand.
Perhaps the funny story would be me messing up. So on the Pantarotor stand, I was doing a demo of how to do the box joints, and the material that we was using was slightly thicker than the travel of the box joint jig. So you have to do it in 2 stages. Well, I was explaining how not to do it, not intending to do it like that. So you make it halfway through. Once you're halfway through, you can't come fully out of the jig, otherwise you're going to cut through the middle of it. And I did exactly that while I was saying, make sure you concentrate and don't go through the middle. And of course, everybody's just wetting themselves laughing. It's the first time I'd ever demoed. The first 3 went perfect, and then that one, it was just a nightmare. But luckily, we had the spare pieces ready to go. So I kind of played off that it was deliberate. That was what I was trying to show you would happen. But then when I finished the table and I went to put it all together, I didn't realise I'd got the orientation wrong on the stretchers. So on the left-hand side, it's nice and flush, and on the right-hand side, it's set back by 5 mil. So luckily, Peter Sefton's going to sort that out for me. So somebody who knows what they're doing is going to fix it. But whether it's a funny story or a stressful story, it's one of the two, I think.
So is that why it's called a panto router then? Because what you did was total pants.
I thought it'd be
Cool.
panto, it's
Cool.
behind you, more like.
Yeah, leave the memories behind you.
Well, at least you didn't nearly kill anyone on your stand, by all accounts.
So how did that happen?
Oh yeah, we did.
But it was a complete fluke. Obviously, when the show's set up, they get a contract company in that does all the kind of lifting and fixing and erection of all the stands. And there we were, merrily, Jamie scrolling away, and I was doing my little routed bit. And I think Steve was still turning because Chris Fisher was stood on the corner because he popped over to do like an hour's demo of doing a pen. And we were all just minding our own business, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's this huge crash as one of the aluminium extrusions at the top of the stand that was holding in like the black sort of labels to what the stand was, the stand numbers, just dropped like a guillotine.
Oh no!
It hit 2 people, but luckily it was a glancing blow, and it was like, right. So Nicola went off and got one of the event organisers, sorted out all the paperwork towards that, and I had a little chat with the guy from the team to sort out, and they came and fixed it. But it was just one of those moments of uh-oh. But luckily no one was hurt. It could have happened, I guess, to anyone. I didn't want it ever happening near me. It's one of those things you want to hear about, not witness. So yeah, the main thing was no one was hurt.
Yeah, and Chris actually said himself that he should have seen it coming, and he didn't.
You can obviously laugh about it after the event, but yeah, that was the big event on the stand of that one. But I would just want to, if Jamie doesn't mind me asking about the the mishaps with demo. It happens. It doesn't matter whether you've got people watching you doing what you do. We all mess up in a workshop.
Yeah, without doubt. Yeah, without doubt. It's just one of them things that you sit and dwell on it, it'll put you off doing it ever again. So you just get on with it, basically. Let face fact that sort of thing happens and just plod on.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at it as the fact of it kind of shows that you're human. It's not it's
absolutely.
not set up to make it look perfect. So at least I made a mistake, but you can fix it. Like it's not the end of the world.
It's exactly the same as doing a live on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like I've been trying to get Andy Berkey to do lives on YouTube. You know, as opposed to these little segments, and just to show people that anyone can make a mistake. Because Andy was saying that he's kind of people have put like a stigma behind him being this master craftsman and things like that.
Yeah.
But he's kind of worried that he could be making a mistake and then people can change that. And I said, well, people make mistakes. That's the way it is. Even like you see all this really intricate scroll saw stuff that I do, and well, yes, I do these good scrolls and stuff, but one of them lines that I've done may not have been there when I first started that pattern. Do you know what I mean? I may have had to like wing it at some point during that pattern making process or cutting process. You know, so yeah, accidents happen. So let it go. Get on with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for a live audience to see mistakes because they're not going to go to their workshop and just think that they're going to throw a piece of wood on a scroll saw and everything's going to go peachy. You know, they've got to learn that you're going to spend a lot of time making mistakes, and those mistakes are the things that are going to make a difference at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you're going to learn from them.
You got to be a failure before you can be a success.
Absolutely, and I'm glad it was you that said talking about failures, and that it's going to sound really bad because I'm now going to segue into Joe, because I know last year, Joe, you considered this whole show a total failure, and I'm going to thank you for coming on. And I'll just say, when you before you get too stressed and you kind of exit stage right, can you go find Pam and ask if she would like to come in and say hello? I think she's floating around and doing all the rest of it. But
I do actually know that Pam at the moment is carrying some tools to a car. So as soon as she's back there, and I'll grab her.
Excellent.
So, is there anybody else you want me to grab?
Well, no, because what we could do is, before she comes on, I want to know maker coins and stickers and all that kind of swapsy stuff. Did you have any good ones for those this year? Anyone that's kind of sticks out in memory as to good swaps?
There's been a lot of interesting ones, a lot of great designs, but one that actually stands out to me is from Ken. And Ken mate gave me one, and he was telling me the story behind it. It was literally the night before he got here. He had a mad rush to get them done because he was going through and he made it using a vinyl cutter, got it all perfect. Then he picked up a can of clear lacquer to spray clear lacquer it, and he was telling me he realised it wasn't looking very shiny. And then he looked at the can and he'd sprayed spray mount on the front of all of the coins for that night. And he's like, he says he was ready to throw the table up in the air. And he said, no, he went away, had a cup of tea. He came back, it had fully dried, and he was able to put a clear coat over the top of them. And they came out brilliant. And they'd actually got a bit of a texture to them. And it felt almost a bit like leather. And it's actually got me thinking that maybe there could be a new technique there somehow. Because honest to God, I'll have to get it down and show you, because it did feel like leather. So that stood out to me of all the coins that was being given out.
That's really cool. And it's just another happy accident. Love it. Jamie, did you have any good, were you giving out maker coins, or did you just get any good ones? I didn't have any
maker coins, but I'll tell you something that did stick out to me, and it's actually from one of Chris's favourite makers in the community, the Maker Monster.
Yeah.
I finally got to meet him, and I'll be totally honest with you, I thought his voice was fake, but it isn't. And every time I heard that guy laughing in real life, I started giggling because it was real.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
I will definitely concur with that, because he came over and signed the noodle step after it was finished. And he's like that, everyone. He's just laughing all the time, and it's so infectious. It's awesome. In fact, actually, Joe, I don't want to get rid of you. That's the last thing I want to do. But you said about getting something. Can you grab Kat, get her on here? Because we want to talk about the noodle step at some point as well. Cheers for coming on, buddy. Steve, did you get any good coins? Think of any good coins or anything like that? Anyone that sticks out in your mind?
There's one coin that really sticks out in my mind, and I can't remember the name of the guy that gave it to me. It was the squashed copper and stamped coin. It's a long copper coin, and it's stamped, and it just looked the colours through it. He'd annealed it and coloured it with heat, and it just came out beautiful. But I'm gonna have to remember who it was that gave it to me. Now, I had people coming up to me and giving me stuff, and I wasn't able to interact because I was turning, and that was my problem. I couldn't have time to actually. I'll talk to you in a second. I'm just teaching this child how to turn something, and when I turned around, those people were gone. So that was the hard thing to do.
That kind of goes back to what I was saying about you feel really rude because you're trying to do things that you're supposed to be doing and all the rest of it. But Kat's joined us, hopefully. If you can hear me through the headset and everything's working, just sort of nods and all the rest of it. Because we were talking, Kat, about the noodle step, and
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to hand over to you and Steve now because I don't want any more to do with it. It's done. It's out of my hands. That's it. Mute.
Yes, folks, you actually heard it right. Hashtag Noodle Step is finished. Booyaka, Sean. High five.
5.
Richard. Richard actually spent 5 minutes and actually finished the noodle step. That's all it took. That's all it would have ever have took. But he had to be a big girl and make a big thing of it. And of course, he was huffing and puffing and making the route. And there was even at one point where he actually aimed the router while I was demonstrating and shot the chips down my back and smiled at me because, hey, I'm doing the noodle step. And it was just like, oh, grow up, you big girls' pals. But, Kat, you've got a noodle step.
I have got an actual noodle set, and it's going to get used a lot. I think he's not going to get a chance to use his lathe at all now because I'm going to be on it. And the noodle step, you've got to look out on the socials for the photos of the noodle step because so many makers have joined in and had a go at like putting it together and a sticker in it and signing it and all of that cool stuff. There's graffiti all over it. Look out on the socials for photos of it because I'm so happy with it. It looks amazing. And it works, and I can now stand on it and reach the lathe, and I'm even taller than Richard. So, yay!
You haven't got to worry about that. He's got a nice golf saw to play with.
It is a mini noodle step. Mini Noodle turned their first pen. Yeah, you heard it here first. Mini Noodle was the newest maker. Well, actually, Mini Noodle's not the newest maker on the block because Durkee is. But yeah, she turned her first pen today, and she's just been and seen Pam from Highland Boxes and bought 3 more pen blanks. So I don't think actually either of us are going to get anywhere near the lathe for a while.
I don't think I'm going to get much time of it. Like you say, Kat, mini noodles in there. But I think, Steve, you were moaning at me saying that, man up and do that. But actually, loads of people made it for me. That's not the best thing to do because Andy Pugh finished off, put the top on. We had, who else did we have in there? Scott Fowler, the farrier. We put all the pocket holes in.
Sam
Fowler, sorry.
And it only got done because he was bullied into it. And thanks to
surely
listeners,
the deal was Richard made the bloody noodle step. So Richard should make the bloody noodle step.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is now that because the noodle step is finished, Richard's not going anywhere near his workshop. It's brilliant. It's a win-win in my mind.
And the other winning thing about it is that I've now discovered that the way to get Richard to actually finish a job that he said he was going to do is weight of social pressure. So I'm going to make a list for next year's Maker Central. So if everyone in the community could just get behind me, I could maybe get my bathroom finished and my my kitchen floor completed and all those little jobs that I've been adding up.
Kat, let's make, while we're here now, we're going to have a whole year of it. Pick a hashtag. That's going to be the new job.
Right in front of everybody here.
Finish my bathroom. Is that the new one?
Hashtag finish the bloody noodle bathroom.
Hashtag finish the bloody noodle bathroom. There you go. That's our new hashtag.
So if anyone's got the
Chris that
contact
calls it a
details
honey-do
for
list?
bullying on social media.
That's the honey-do list.
Exactly. Yes, Chris, the honey-do list. Yeah.
Richard,
the noodle do list.
You poor man. I'm sorry.
Surely this is internet bullying and harassment. It must be, right? Yeah.
Right, we're going to welcome Pam from Highland Boxes here now.
Awesome.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, Pam.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
How are you, Pam?
Pam, before we talk about how if you've got any of those blanks left at the moment, Pam, because they've been literally going like hotcakes in the lobby here.
Yeah, there's actually only a few left. The bag returned with a lot of notes in it.
Awesome, and for good reason, I know, because I managed to snag a couple as well, and they are awesome. So yeah. So anyway, what were you doing you were demonstrating, weren't you?
It wasn't demoing. I was just showing what I do, really, and answering questions, all resin questions mostly. Over the weekend, I was on the second stage with Jake, Zach Higgins, and Jim Overton. and we were doing a Q&A. That went really well, actually. Got loads of questions on that one, so it went down really well.
It went really well, did it?
It did.
Didn't you get told off at one point? I thought you were being naughty or something, weren't you?
Has Jake been talking?
he might have
well, we
mentioned
did
something.
get told off. Yeah, well, we did get told off because we were also filming ourselves at the same time, and Zach then turned and told us off. So yeah, we were having a bit of fun, to say the least.
But that's what it's all about.
I don't think you can go anywhere without Jake filming you, because he's kind of doing it now as well.
Yeah, he's in the background here. The camera is on.
He cannot be trusted. So you essentially were helping out people that want to get into casting, people that know nothing about casting, and that kind of thing, were you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just trying to get as many people into it, because it's a great hobby, and if you're a wood turner, most people are wanting to test out resin. So just giving tips to beginners, really, people without all the equipment. That was what I was aiming for this weekend. A lot of new resin casters would have walked away from Maker Central today, so I was giving them tips on how they can walk away and make themselves a pen blank, and they don't have to buy my ones, which defeats the whole point of what I do, really. But that's what it's about, being a maker. So sharing our information and letting everybody have a chance to do it.
And were you sort of demoing and doing the kind of interaction with the punters last year, or were you purely here as a video? Video. I said it twice and got it wrong. A visitor.
Videographer.
No, last year I was on the House of Resin as well, and what was it? Yeah, I did. It was the same question and answer, really. Took all my stuff out, and we didn't really have anybody for stabilising or that last year. So although didn't have the experience Zach's got, so I was sort of giving advice on stabilising and resins and stuff then. So, and all the different resins.
So that creates another unique perspective in terms of, like, I came as a punter last year from a stand. Joe was talking about the same thing. How did you see any difference between being on a stand last year and being on a stand this year, and atmosphere in the two? Had same differences, good, better, worse, or how?
Yeah. The knowledge that you could get from this year's was massive, really, because there were so many people came in and were working. I mean, the people see us as YouTubers and that we just do the videos and stuff like that. But with a makers event like this, actually, we're all out there working and trying to share this knowledge again. And, we're not here getting paid for any of this. We're just out there sharing what we know. That's the whole point of Maker Central. So, yeah, this year there was more knowledge. We got some, obviously Zach Higgins coming over, me being a resin caster, Zach Higgins, Brian Bloom, Jake Thompson, and there is a whole host of others as well. But, those ones just pointing out, them coming over and sharing their knowledge. I learned from Zach and Jim Overton about casting. Jake says that he watched me. I don't know why, but he says he watched me. So it's just like the generations go on. We're all sharing the knowledge, and new ones are coming across. If it happens next year, Maker Central, I don't know if it is, but there'll be new ones coming forward as well. Because it's about sharing everything we know.
Yeah. I know you came down with your dad again. Hashtag Jim's a legend. Did he enjoy himself? And did you?
Yeah, he had a brilliant time. He's sitting over there drinking away, and probably is about ready for his bed now, right enough. But yeah, he's had a brilliant weekend, and everybody knows him, so he doesn't even go to the toilet. And somebody's saying, "Could you clear the way? Pam's dad's coming through." So yeah, he's had an absolutely brilliant time once again. So, and thanks to all the makers who have kept an eye on him when I've been busy on doing stuff as well. So there's a lot of people out there helping me out. So
love your dad to bits. In fact, I had a very small select list of people that I really wanted to speak to and stop and share some time with this weekend. And he was top of the list bar one, and that was Bamba the guide dog.
Yeah, I actually told him that. He was just delighted. Like he's wanting a logo designed for him now. Jim's Legend or something like that. It's going to be designed for him. So
excellent. So
wants his own logo.
definitely. I think people should get behind that 100%. Send your ideas in, and let's get him sorted out with his own logo and jack him right up. Excellent.
Send in all your ideas to Jim's the legend to makers intl at hotmail.com. And let's get Jimmy's own logo.
He'll love that.
Chris, I kind of feel like you have been very quiet. I don't know whether you're frozen on my computer or the internet's choppy, but have you got any questions for Pam that you want to ask as a complete?
Are you putting me on the spot here, Richard?
No, I'm not gonna question Pam. Pam's. Are you kidding me? Pam sent me 3 blanks before you guys even got one. So.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, you got yours.
Whoa.
You're not supposed to tell him about the third one.
You got 3.
No, Chris.
We know who she loves and who she doesn't. Don't worry about it.
I'm glad you got them, Chris.
Pam, thank you so much for sending them. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, Chris, you may have got a blank, but can you do this?
No, I can't at the moment, and that pisses me off. But whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, I just like to say, Chris, you know that Paduke that you have?
Yeah.
Can you burn it? Because it exploded in my face today.
No, I think that's a user problem, not the wood. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, good one there, Chris.
Yeah. No, it was fine here, Twidell. What you did to it is not my problem. I don't care.
Well, he called it a few names afterwards.
Well, let him call me some names. It's not my fault. If it helps Steve in his ego a little bit to blame somebody else for his F up, then that's fine. Go ahead, that's Steve. Then sleep well tonight.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't the 7-year-old girl's fault that was turning the bank.
No, of course not.
Yeah, so the only person I could blame at that moment when the blank took off and over the top of her head was you, because it couldn't be my fault. Live there, I mean,
if it was
blame the American that's not there.
Exactly, blame me. Because don't blame the 7-year-old girl because she won't want to give it a go again. So yeah, I'm fine with that. That's fine, Steve. But other than that, you can kiss whatever. Anyway.
So thanks.
Thank you very much.
I'll let you go and look after your dad. And
see you later, Chris.
I think
Yeah, get the logo sorted for me, Dad.
Once again, send the logos in for Jim is the legend at makers intl at hotmail.com.
Steve, who can you see further afield that you want to shout out?
Well, I want that over there. Are we going to get Nick over just before we finish, or is he there, or? Because he's got to tell us whether there's going to be a show.
I don't
He's
know
right
where he is.
there. I'm going to grab him. I'm going to go and grab him by his ears. Hold on. I'm going to grab him.
Well, I was going to say let's get Jimmy to kind of do the groundwork, but it does look like he's enjoying it. I'm getting a newsflash. He's on his way.
We have a funky mover.
He's not looking happy. Right, Jamie, mic him up.
There he is. Hi, Nick. How are you, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Oh, there's cheers from the bar.
Not for me.
Nick, we've been getting loads of abuse. I'm sure you're going to be getting loads of abuse. Are you able? We're not going to ask for an answer. Are you able to give an answer one way or the other about any potential future shows? I'll leave it a bit vague so you can be vague.
It is a tricky question. So we'd love to try and do another show. Yeah, we would. But again, it's we've got to sit back and assess, the situation. Really, there's a lot more complexity around putting another show on.
Absolutely. I guess at the end of the day, it's a very similar situation to people when they post on social media, I'm doing this project, but I don't think it necessarily is interesting. And they ask the viewers, should I do a video on it? And the answer is always going to be yes. And they don't necessarily understand the legwork that goes on behind the end product. So I totally get that. All things considered, if it all went to plan, would you want to?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's not about not wanting to really. It's more, you know, the commercials and the logistics around, you know, whether or not it's possible for actually me to be able to do it in, you know, in the situation that I'm in at the moment. So, you know, so there's a lot of other things to think about. So it's yeah, it's like I say, it's a tricky question to answer. You know,
Well, Nick,
it isn't as straightforward as a yes or no, really. Yeah.
Nick, then rather than answer that question, let me ask you this question, if I could. How do you think this year went?
Yeah, I think it was fantastic. And again, you know, I know everyone wanted it to happen again. It feels like we were here kind of yesterday. It was just really weird. And it's come around so quick. And I think it was a really great success. We definitely had more people, you know, at the show. We had more exhibitors at the show. We had more things going on at the show. You know, we changed a lot of things that people sort of mentioned last year that weren't great, and we sort of altered and changed those. There still are and were things that could have been improved upon or could have been added, and that's something that we would probably bring to the table if we do put on another show. You know, people have got ideas of, like, you know, adding certain other crafty things to what we had there and stuff. You know, there's always improvements. There's always going to be things that we could have done better, and that's what, you know, we're trying to improve upon. Hopefully, in the coming years, if we can get it back on. There was a thought around doing it maybe every 2 years. That's an option that we could maybe look at doing it every 2 years. I didn't want to bring it to, if we can do it. I didn't want to bring it. I wasn't sure whether to bring it every year because, you know, are we able to gather this crowd every year? I mean, they came last year, they came bigger in force this year, which is great. But will they keep coming? You know, I mean, these guys, they come on their own back. You know, they pay their own way. And I know that there's a lot of talk, you know, among some people saying, oh, you know, we pay for all these people and stuff like that. We don't. These guys fly in on their own expense. You know, they pay for their own hotels, you know, and yeah, we might, you know, if there's people are doing a bit of shouting out for us or a bit of, you know, advertising on their channel, we'll chuck them a few $100 here and a few $100 there. Of course, yeah, that's no problem. That's what we do. That's only natural. You know what I mean? If you want me to promote your stuff, I'll ask for a couple of $100 as well. You know, so we have done that for a few people, but you know, we certainly haven't been paying for everyone to come over here. So that's, you know, these guys doing this on their own back, on their own money. You know, so, and some guys are flying in from, you know, China, and there was a guy that was here yesterday from Sydney. You know, I mean, this must have cost him an absolute fortune. Jenny came, cost him £5,000 to bring his truck here. We did not pay a penny for him to be here. You know, so I mean, this is amazing. You know, and I can't believe just how all these people just want to do this for this show. It's crazy, and I'm so overwhelmed by it, but I don't want to take advantage of that fact and expect that we're going to get all of these people that are going to come back every year. If they do, brilliant, you know, and that's fantastic. So I'm just conscious of the fact that, you know, I don't want them to think, oh, not again, I just can't afford to come again. You know, which is great. I'm sure we'll all come. That's fine. That's great. It'll still be a great show. But you've got to have the headline acts, because, you know, they're the people that we want to see. I want to see, you know, and they also draw a really big crowd as well, which is great for them, great for us, great for the show. You know, which is why we had Colin here this year. You know, that was a great, you know, having him come along was amazing. You know, really, really great. Bobby's back, great. You know, and all the big names are back. You know, Bob from I Like to Make Stuff, and DiResta, and everyone loves seeing these people. We all love these makers. They're our idols. You know, we look up to them. You know, even I stand there in amazement, going, "Wow, it's DiResta." You know, it's, you know, this is great. This is the people that we watch all the time. So, you know, that's what I want, really. I want them to feel that they're happy to keep coming back, and if they are, then great.
Definitely. I mean, either way, whichever way.
Waffling on a little bit there, aren't I?
well, yeah, it doesn't matter which way you cut it. From my point of view, and hopefully you feel the same. Like you've already pointed out, there were things that you improved on from last time. That loads of it. There was a more variety of things. You definitely ended on a high. Either way, whatever happens for the future,
yeah,
you've got better than last year. And there are a lot of very successful shows out there that are every 2 years. there's all sorts of options. So
Yeah.
I think everyone's just happy to keep their fingers crossed. And if it doesn't happen, you ended on a real high because it was absolutely fantastic. And what I'd like to say is, from me personally, I'm sure from everybody else in the room, mate, thank you. You've done a cracking job. Your team has done a cracking job. And if you're listening live and you're here, just stand up and give him a good old clap and a thumbs up, because, wow, brilliant. Definitely. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I just wanted
Yeah,
to,
no,
I
that's
just
cool. I
wanted to
mean,
add as
you know,
well.
yeah.
Sorry, Nick. I just wanted to add as well that, I mean, we're talking about YouTube and these big makers, YouTube makers, but what you've done today and throughout the year organising this is you've inspired future makers as well. And I don't think you take enough, credit for the fact that you're actually changing young kids' lives by doing this as well. So that deserves a round of applause in itself. But the fact that you're bringing new people into this and you're getting them away from the TV and from computer games. So well done on that.
And that's a really important thing for us. Yeah, and we really want to do those types of things. That's seeing all the kids running around today and the families was just amazing. And that was what made me so proud, is that all these kids were loving the show. And that's what we want to try and do. Exactly that. We want to put them away from these games and things and iPads and iPods and, get them into making stuff, using their hands, which is why we've also opened up this Maker Central members for everybody to come and join, so that they can join and still keep Maker Central alive, during the next 12 months or 24 months. We're going to be bringing lots of really great content to everybody on the Maker Central members website. So if you're interested in that, please, you can subscribe to that, and we'll let you know when that's live. There's going to be all sorts of stuff in there, and and that will give you discounts on shows and prize draws and all sorts of stuff in there. Interviews with makers. It's a bit of an online makers magazine, basically. It's what we're gonna create for everyone. So
awesome, Nick. Thanks for coming on. I know we kind of ambushed you in the middle of you in kind of your wind down time, I guess, for the year. But thanks for coming on, and I've got my fingers crossed. So whatever happens, yeah.
Cool.
You can go and blow your own trumpet now.
My own trumpet now, yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Before you go, where's your ukulele? Because Minnie Noodle's come all the way. She wants to play your ukulele.
Oh, it's in the van now, packed away.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
That is just so not funky.
And there I was saying we ended on a high. Awesome. Well, we're definitely going to wrap it up there, Chris. I don't know whether we're going to go on for a little bit longer off air, but like I said before, if you are still listening, thank you very much. If you're not, we will say what we like about you. Steve, Jamie, Nick, everyone that's here listening live. Till next week, we will see you, and you take care.
Have a great week, everybody.
Cheers. Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Funky.